it's part of our misknowledge of what's going on in other parts of the world. People tend to think that the so-called Western world is the only part of the world that is prepared to cope with this kind of situations, and part of it has to do, I think, with the misunderstanding and misknowledge of what real China is, or what real Asia is, and maybe this explains something. One has to understand that any authorities in any country of the world would be very careful and very cautious with this kind of situations. I wonder whether if it happened in a European country or in the United States, if information would be more substantive or more substantial than this. And in the beginning of the outbreak, nobody was sure about what was going on. The important for me, and I think the important for the Western media, would be to look at the big and very important efforts that Chinese authorities have put in dealing with the situation, and in what ways they cooperate with international authorities in order to restrain the epidemic. And as for the information that was given, I think that in a country like China, and I highlight this, in any other country, the same could have been the same. The Chinese economy, the Chinese people who are suffering from the disease, and the entire cities which are under quarantine, and the suspension of classes, these are real problems. No one would like to live in a situation like this one. And the Chinese people are undergoing this difficult situation now. And that is a part of the problem that is not sufficiently, I think, is not sufficiently covered by Western media. We tend to think about how many cases of the disease have arrived in Europe, how Chinese students and Chinese people in Europe could spread the virus in Europe, but we don't think about the millions of people who are under quarantine, who are not attending their jobs, their classes, and this is a very important part of the problem which is forgotten here.